This is the Chris DeGaulle Show podcast.
Okay, guys, let's just rip. And Chris DeGaulle.
Chris DeGaulle. Chris, thanks for being with me tonight.
Chris DeGaulle.
I'm joined now by Chris DeGaulle.
Now, he puts the broad in broadband. It's Chris DeGaulle.
The Chris DeGaulle podcast is presented by usmedicalplan.com. Save big money monthly and get better health coverage at usmedicalplan.com.
It's Thursday, the final day of November. Woof. Welcome into the Chris DeGaulle Show podcast, December 1st tomorrow. How about it? Glad you're here, and you got a good one today. The House Republicans are going to get tough, and we're going to tell you just how tough in a minute. Hogan Gidley will be with us. You know, he is the former deputy press secretary at the White House. He worked with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his good friend, now governor of Arkansas. I asked him a question about her. I think you might be interested in his answer. I talked with him tonight about the matchup between DeSantis and Newsom, which is happening on Fox. Hannity is sponsoring that, I guess, moderating it, whatever you want to call it. And I asked Hogan what he thinks could come of it for either of these guys. Pretty interesting. Also, Elon Musk. You've probably heard it by now. If for some reason you haven't, you have to hear. Elon Musk and what he says yesterday on a stage in front of a who's who of all the most important political and financial people ever. And more news and details on Nikki Haley, something you may have forgotten that I want to remind you about, particularly if you're a Rush Limbaugh fan as it relates to Nikki Haley. All right, so all that's on the way, but first let me remind you about the guy that wants to save you big-time money on health insurance costs. I'm talking about John Ruhlman. John and his entire team at usmedicalplan.com. Now, if you want to know who John is or get a better sense of the guy, I talk with him at length at chrisstegall.com. You can click on my video conversation with him. It's like 45 minutes. I ask him a bunch of questions related to health insurance, whether you're a senior citizen on a fixed income and you buy a supplemental plan, young person, never had any insurance at all, small business owner, you buy your health insurance for your employees, or you're just the head of a family or responsible for the family health insurance and you buy it out of pocket yourself. We run through all those scenarios, or maybe even those of you that have a group plan through work. Can John and his team at usmedicalplan.com save you money? Odds are often yes. Now, if you work for a big company and they provide your health insurance, they buy in bulk so they can reduce the price, you understand that. But all of you who buy your own health insurance, I'd lay odds that if you called John and his team at US Medical Plan today, usmedicalplan.com or 877-410-4321, I'll bet you John saves you 30 to 60% today. He has a network of 80 different private health insurers. He will not cut corners. He's not trying to sell you cheap insurance that doesn't cover you if you fall sick or have an accident. No, in fact, quite the opposite. John makes sure is your insurance buttoned up. You know what he finds a lot of times is you think you've got great insurance that you're paying a lot of money for, and you call and you run some scenarios with him, and he says, you're paying a lot of money for insurance that's going to surprise you. It won't come in full when you need them if you're hospitalized. Let me get you on a different plan that will. At least talk about the plan you're paying for right now and see if he can save you money. What's a 2-minute phone call hurt? 877-410-4321 or usmedicalplan.com. Look, very, very good news from the House GOP, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it should give all of us a lot of cause to celebrate. I think those of you that had your doubts about the House GOP and their effectiveness and their ability to lead in these trying times, you know, with a massive budget problem, with a border problem, with national security issues, constant funding of Ukraine. Tick off the list of things that ail the country. I think that all of us can rest easy now, knowing that Republicans have unanimous agreement and will move swiftly to deal with George Santos. Feel a little better about things in there, Fast Eddie?
I will sleep much, much better tonight, Chris.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. I think I speak for all Americans when I say our long national nightmare is over. The lone Republican representative of one district in New York will be dealt with swiftly, and they have unanimous agreement amongst Republicans that they're going to dispatch with George Santos very soon. Representative Anthony D'Esposito moved to force a vote on expelling Representative George Santos this week, setting in motion the second effort of the day to oust the embattled lawmaker. Democrats have, I guess they think it's funny to keep George Santos around, so they've been trying to kind of help him out a little bit by not going along with expelling him. Turns out, I guess, the Democrats are done with their cat toy, so they've decided to bow out. They're going to stand aside and let the Republicans get rid of George Santos. But that was the big headline today coming out of Congress. Republicans in total solidarity. They've had it, and they're going to let everybody know it, and they're going to get rid of George Santos. Alejandro Mayorkas can't get there. We can't impeach the guy who has overseen our wide open borders, but by God, all of us can lock arm in arm and get rid of one member of the 435-member House of Representatives from the state of New York because he's engaged in defrauding some of his voters. Now, I'm no George Santos fan. I have no feelings about George Santos. I think he looks like a goof. Like, literally just looks goofy. He's obviously a liar and a fraud. But I said this before, and I'll say it again, just like when Lauren Boebert was vaping and playing Hide the Salami at the theater in Colorado, they're not our problem. Are they, Fast Eddie? I think I am probably speaking for most of this audience. Are most of you deeply concerned about the behavior of one representative in some corner of some state in which you don't live? Does that bother you? Now, if that's your member of Congress, I'm sure you're very embarrassed, mad, frustrated, you want it dealt with. I understand. If George Santos is your congressman, I get why you'd want him gone. But that's for you to deal with. And I am sure, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that by this time next year, George Santos would not be voted for in majority in his district to be returning for a second term to the House of Representatives. I have every reason to believe the citizens of the whatever district he is in New York would see fit to turn George Santos out. But no, the Republicans can't wait. His lies, his manipulations, his lying to his citizens, his respective district constituents, this has got to be dealt with swiftly and the Republicans are on it. Of course, I say all this tongue-in-cheek, as I know most of you understand. It is so infuriating to me that this is the only thing Republicans seem to be able to accomplish these days. Throw their own out. Throw their own overboard. Make big shows of how they're going to punish their own. Republicans are great at punishing Republicans, aren't they? They're great at it. Republicans can lock arms and show the world that they will not tolerate anything from their own. But when it comes to Democrats, there's always a handful of them or more that just, gosh, they can't see their way to impeaching them, or they don't even, in fact, let's not even talk about impeaching Joe Biden. Let's not, it's too unseemly to have a discussion about impeaching him. Let's just wait till the election. Let the people speak, they'll say. They always tell us this. I think it would just be seen as political retribution if we took control of the House of Representatives and moved to impeach Biden. Yes, I know you could go down the laundry list of things that are, and by the way, it's a political instrument. To impeach is a political maneuver by the House, so it is a political act. That's all. But rather than employ it, and rather than employ the list of reasons you could do it, no. We don't want to look like we're, doing tit for tat here. We're serious Republicans. We're here to lead and govern and do the business of the people. We're not just going to even the score just because Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats did it to Trump. No. We're not going to do that to Mayorkas or Biden. No. But Santos? Oh, we're going to show you how tough we can be. We're so tough, we're going to get rid of our own. Yeah, see? That's how tough and serious we are. And I'm sure there'll be a big parade for the Republicans in New York. And I bet the Republicans will get a new Republican member of Congress reappointed to George Santos' seat. I bet a lot of Democrats will probably join hands with many of the Republican House members and say, boy, that is, you know what? Thank you for being so fair and even-handed. Thank you for having the courage to deal with your own. That really took some guts out there, boys. We Democrats see you differently now, and we're going to side with you and help you pass some of your agenda. I'm sure that's the way that's going to go. Right, Fast Eddie?
That's exactly it. The meetings they're already talking about the meetings next week about how they're going to work together on the border.
Yeah, the media is going to do so. I'm sure once they finally vote to expel Santos, I bet the media will all do some loving, praiseworthy pieces, commentaries tonight on MSNBC and CNN about how noble the Republicans are. And wow, now this really shows leadership when you're willing to take it to one of your own. I can't wait for the Sunday shows to give the Republicans all the credit. Boy, there'll be such political cachet for the Republicans after this week. Man, by next week, with all of these negative polls for Biden, and now that the Republicans have dispatched with George Santos, why, oh boy, Katie bar the door. It may be a Republican rout. We may have a supermajority next year in the House of Representatives, thanks to their actions today. Well done, ladies and gentlemen of the Republican House. Yes. Now, this is the kind of leadership we want. Impeaching Biden, a couple of hearings here and there, that's fine. Defunding anything? No, don't lift a finger. Don't trouble yourselves, fellas. Why, we got George Santos to deal with. Sorry, I'm dripping with snark today. First thing I read this morning when I logged into my newsfeed, Republicans are going to deal with George Santos. Oh, well, glory be. With all the things facing the world today, the Republicans are going to put their foot down on George Santos. How often do you think of George Santos in the course of a day, Fast Eddie?
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
He's not keeping you awake at night? That's not bothering you much? Not on your agenda?
The only thing that I will tell you one thing. The only thing that bothers me about George Santos is the way that local media mentions him 2 to 3 times per hour. Local media. It's amazing.
And this is why, well, you're right. And they all are, everyone from sea to shining sea is using George Santos as a cudgel. I understand it politically. I'm not suggesting George Santos is a positive to have around for the reasons you just state. That's why Republicans will tell you, well, Stigall, I know you're being snarky about it, but that's why we got to get rid of him. Because all over the country, just like in Philadelphia, local media are using him to embarrass Republicans. Well, you got to get rid of him. Okay. And then, and so then they'll lay down their arms, right? And then local media in Philadelphia is going to do loving, they're going to get on their knees, put on their knee pads, and service the Republican Party for the remainder of the year and next because they've gotten rid of Santos. Is that about right? Is that what they think? I get so tired of this. It's always reactionary. It's all, we gotta do something, or the media. Oh. Do you think those jackasses are ever going to like you? I learned this since I started understanding Rush Limbaugh. When I was a child, every one of us who's been alive for more than a decade understands the media will never like or support or cheer Republicans. And no matter what Republicans do to try to make the media stop being mean to them or maybe like them and give them credit, they will never win it. They will never get it. It will never happen. Never. You are never going to win local Philadelphia media. Never. You hear me, Fast Eddie? Republicans will never make local Philadelphia media talk nice about them. Never. Local media in Philadelphia, Republicans could cure cancer, and local media in Philadelphia would not give them the credit. They wouldn't. Never. They'd say, well, a lot of cancer doctors out of work now, thanks to the Republicans' cure for cancer. Tonight at 6, many hospital employees lose their jobs at premier cancer centers now that Republicans have eradicated cancer. Maybe the media will stop being mean to us if we... Okay.
I think that's what Chris Christie's banking his entire presidential run on.
That's right.
He's going to be liked.
And they can't help themselves. They just can't. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Staring at a lot of stuff that just frankly irritates me. Jamie Dimon confirming what we talked about yesterday. All the big money wants Nikki Haley. the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, spoke at the New York Times Deal Book Summit on Wednesday, confirmed to the crowd that he's been in talks with the Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley. Not only that, he's trying to get other business leaders on board to support her too. Somebody called Teddy Schleifer posted the news on X yesterday amid growing support for the former UN ambassador and governor of South Carolina. Haley has been picking up steam, not just in polls, but in support from other business leaders. She recently got the endorsement of the Koch brothers and their Americans for Prosperity Action PAC, which we talked to you about. Trump has railed against the endorsement, calling the PACs a corrupt network of globalist rhino donors and backstabbers. He ain't wrong. As for Diamond, he covered other topics at the summit, blah, blah, blah. Is this helpful to Nikki Haley? I'll ask again today. Is it helpful that the biggest of bigwig business guys are coming forward saying, we need Nikki Haley? Does that help her with the Republican base? Serious question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, much like dispatching with George Santos. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but just in case I've hit my head and you may see it differently, go ahead and tell me if you do. Is Jamie Dimon and big Wall Street fat cats jumping in on Nikki Haley going to make the Republican base more excited about Nikki Haley?
It will help her greatly in the general election, Chris. Not the primary.
Okay, good. So you see it my way.
Yes.
I said yesterday that I would love nothing more than to take my daughter to the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting. And then I've also said no way in the world I ever would. And yesterday gave you the very reason I won't, and confirmed why I won't, and probably won't anytime soon. Did you see this yesterday? The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. You know what's so sad about that is years ago, I mean, gosh, I don't know, almost 30 years ago now, whenever I was in college, when I was interning there in New York City, my grandmother at that time was, gosh, I don't know, maybe in her 70s. What would it have been? I mean, you know, like a mature lady for sure, not elderly and decrepit by any means. Loved her. Very close to my grandmother. Very, very close to her when I was a kid. And so I was out there, and this is how cool my grandmother was. I called her up and I said, you know, Grandma, I can't come home for Thanksgiving this year. I got to stay here in New York. What about you coming out to New York City? Now, she'd never set foot in New York City in her life. She's a farm girl from Missouri. And I'd been out there long enough that I knew the way around the city pretty well. And so she said, well, sure, okay. I was stunned, but that's what she did. She got on a plane, and she flew to New York City, and I got her at the airport, and we put her up in a hotel. And I spent, I don't know, probably 2 calendar days dragging my grandmother around Manhattan on foot. She was a tough old bird, and she loved life, and she loved traveling. And I was so excited to show her New York City. And she had so much fun, and one of the highlights of it, and I've still got this picture, is when I took my grandmother to the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting. It was such a special memory for me. I have such warm memories of that and Rockefeller Center and the Rockettes. We went to see the Christmas show and the whole thing. And yeah, my daughter wants to experience that too, and I always thought, gosh, it would be I named my daughter's middle name after my grandmother. Like, I just thought it was so nice. I doubt anytime soon I will ever have such a memory with my daughter. And it's so sad. I don't know if you saw it, the Christmas tree, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, completely taken over by pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian protesters yesterday. It got pretty salty, didn't it, Fast Eddie?
Yeah, no, I think there was some actual physical altercation between the police and protesters.
And then, of course, 100 people gathered at the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art on Wednesday for the city's 3rd annual Palestinian Day of Solidarity, an event that was both a celebration of long-standing immigrants in the community as well as a platform for continued grief and outrage over the Israel-Hamas war. Jude Hussein, a Palestinian-born organizer of the event, began the ceremony with a moment of silence for the thousands of civilians and dozens of journalists killed in the Gaza Strip since the war began. Interesting. Hey, Jude, Any moments of silence for the 1,200 slaughtered prior to Israel taking action? Any moment of silence there, Jude? Hey, Jude. We are students, doctors, pilots, business owners, poets, musicians, professionals of all kinds, but we pride ourselves on being the greatest of neighbors. When the community needs us, we step up. Hey, Jude, why are you here? If you're all such important poets and musicians and professionals and pilots and doctors, why the hell don't you go back to Gaza and better that rat hole? Serious. Isn't it interesting? These people, they protest at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. They protest at the Museum of Art. Go home. I'm sincere. Take all of your wonderful attributes, all of your first world learnings and high-minded degrees, take them all back and go back to Gaza and better that dump. Why don't you do that? Go eradicate Hamas. Why don't you? If you're all so enlightened and such astute, esteemed members of our society, then why the hell don't you go back and better that rat-infested Islamo-fascist dump called Gaza? Why don't you do that? Fast Eddie, answer. Why don't they go back home and better their society instead of having women covered head to toe with slits for eyes and slaughtering gays? Why don't these people who are so proud of their heritage and their professional accomplishments here in the United States, why don't they go back to the motherland and make it better for them?
Because they can't. Yeah. They absolutely can't. With the views a lot of them hold, the freedoms that they're afforded here, and frankly, their safety.
And not a one, and it's beautifully answered, and not a one of the members of the media covering all these stupid protests would ask any of these people that. You know, gosh, you say you people have got such important, degreed, enlightened points of view about the world, and you want to bring attention to the plight of the Palestinians. Why the hell don't you go home and help your motherland? Why don't you, if you're that moved and emotional about it? I haven't heard word one of you prior to them slaughtering 1,200 Israelis. I didn't see you protesting in the streets. Where were you? Where have you been? This has not been a thing. Had you ever heard from these people waving their Palestinian flags on the steps of the art museum? I don't know who they are. I don't know where they came from. They seem to be living amongst us, though. Pretty happily, I might add. They don't seem to be in a race to get back home to the motherland, do they? And if ever there was a place that needed their help, I would think it would be all these enlightened poets and doctors and pilots and musicians who would go back home and teach these repressed Palestinian brothers and sisters of theirs that they live under a totalitarian regime, an Islamo-fascist totalitarian regime, and that they should rise up and reject Islamo-fascism. I would think that would be their message, but no. No, their message here on American soil in front, while they stopped at Starbucks on their way to their little protest on the steps of the art museum or in front of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is, hey, we stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters who are being slaughtered by the Israelis. Sure you do. Where you been? Where you been? How are they being treated under Hamas right now? All you doctors and pilots and poets and musicians.
Chris, can I actually play something for you?
Oh, please.
This was a picture from the Inquirer last week on an article from Max Marin. All right, the city of Philadelphia distances itself from third annual Palestinian Day of Solidarity. Now, the picture has a guy in it that I believe to be Michael C. Wilson. So I reached out to the author of the post, Max Marin, and I never received a reply. I can't confirm, but I can visualize, with my eyes, see that this person who was at the protest the day after Hamas went into Israel, this is the day after in Rittenhouse Square.
So October 8th?
October 8th, yes.
All right.
All right, here's the audio from the guy that I believe is pictured.
I think that we should all give an applaud right now to Hamas for a job well done. When they woke up in the morning and they found the field hands in the house with a knife ready to cut their f***ing throats. I was late to the news, but when I heard it, I smiled. I don't want to hear that 250 innocent Israelis are dead.
Yeah, that's right. We had that audio October 8th. That was the day after 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered. They were cheering it. There were many applauding. So that guy, you say, is photographed?
He's pictured in a previous Palestinian Day of Solidarity with Jude. He's holding a sign to the right of her.
Hey, Jude. Jude Hussein, Palestinian-born organizer. Moment of silence for the thousands of civilians killed in Gaza. We are students, doctors, pilots, business owners, poets, musicians, professionals of all kinds. When our community needs us, we step up. Oh, do you, Jude? Why don't you go home, Jude? They need you there, not here. I'm sure that your brothers and sisters in the Gaza Strip are grateful for your flag-waving support on the steps of the Art Museum in Philadelphia. You talk a big game, Jude. Go home. Go home to Gaza. Live under Hamas for a while. Then call us, Jude. We'd love to talk. Sickness out in Oakland. City council meeting out in Oakland has gone viral as residents there in Oakland, I guess, is this in city council testimony or something?
Yeah, these are people that were present at the hearing.
Praising Hamas. Denying October 7th, much like you heard here. Yeah, take a listen, sorry.
Israel murdered their own people on October 7th.
Calling Hamas a terrorist organization is ridiculous, racist, and plays into genocidal propaganda that is flooding our media and that we should be doing everything possible to combat.
I support the right of Palestinians to resist occupation, including through Hamas, the armed wing of the unified Palestinian resistance. As an Arab, asking with this context to condemn Hamas is very anti-Arab racist.
The notion that this was a massacre of Jews is a fabricated narrative. Many of those killed on October 7th,
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up.
including children, were killed by the IDF. An amendment condemning Hamas is bald propaganda meant to...
Thank you. Your time is up.
To hear them complain about Hamas violence is like listening to a wife beater complain when his wife finally stands up and fights back.
Question. Did anyone else notice that those who oppose this resolution are old white supremacists?
There's been a lot of atrocity propaganda ranging from claims of beheaded babies to mass rape.
Hamas is not a terrorist organization just because the U.S. and Israel deems it so. Hamas is a resistance organization that is fighting for the liberation of Palestinian people and their land.
Do you think there was a voice in that montage over the age of 30? Was there a voice in that montage over the age of 30?
California, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so. They all sounded extremely young to me. Most of them 20. I would bet most of the people in that montage are not 30. Millennial morons. It's, I won't say fitting. He was 100 years old, for heaven's sakes. Henry Kissinger died yesterday at age 100, and I have to say, I don't know, maybe of a broken heart. Maybe of a broken heart, I don't know. I mean, when you're 100, that's a good run, but anyway, it's sort of apt that someone who accomplished so much as the chief diplomat of the United States died in the middle of this disgusting display. It's heartbreaking. It's just disgusting that there are so many supposed Americans who have this anti-Semitic belief. All Democrats, every one of them left-wing Democrat voters, and the Republicans are expelling George Santos today. It's frustrating. Well, maybe Nikki Haley and the big banks are going to save us. All right, I have better news. I'll cheer up here. Sorry, had to get this off my chest. So I said on Thanksgiving on Instagram that I was extraordinarily thankful for this audience, and I never take for granted the fact that I can come in here and vent in ways that many of you I know wish you could and can't. I know it's a blessing. I never take it for granted. I'm grateful that you're here and you listen. I'm not sure what I'd do if I didn't have the ability to come in here and just get this off my chest. So thank you. I said it then, I'll say it again. There is some good stuff that came out of yesterday, believe it or not. I'll get into that next. Jason Perrette, he is the founder and financial advisor at Eagle Wealth Planning. He's a friend of mine, and he has a passion for getting you on proper financial footing. I don't know if you have a financial advisor. If you don't, I'd strongly urge you to make Jason yours. And you can be anywhere in the country. You don't have to be where Jason is. Jason can deal with you right over Zoom or right over the phone. He's fantastic because he focuses on producing consistent results for his clients based on their unique financial goals. His main objective is just to help you pursue your goal wherever you happen to be. Because he's a fiduciary, he's dedicated to providing clients with complete wealth management and investment services, and he constantly revisits the goals as well. He's not trying to upsell you. Jason can accomplish just about anything you need financially and keep you on track, whether you're a really advanced entrepreneur, whether you're a young person just starting out and you have no real plan at all and you need one, professionals, retirees. Maybe you're thinking about, now that I am retired, I want to make sure all my money's in proper order. Let Jason help you get it in order. Jason regularly revisits your goals, assesses your risk tolerance so that you really approach it as a team, and he helps keep you on track. That's a big part of having somebody as a partner like Jason at Eagle Wealth Planning. I hope you'll reach out. 816-394-8117. 816-394-8117. You can reach out to him through email as well, jason@eaglewealthplanning.com. His website is linked on mine at chrisstegall.com. Get together with Jason. Have a conversation with him. Tell him where you are. Maybe plan out a new path forward for your finances with Jason Perrette, a financial advisor at Eagle Wealth Planning. We thank Jason for his sponsorship. Securities and advisory services offered through Cetera Advisors, LLC, member FINRA SIPC, a broker-dealer, and a registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. I promised good news, though. I'm not going to get distracted. Ready for some good news? This will make you smile, as I'm sure it made me smile. If for some reason you haven't heard it, it's gone viral already. This thing they call the Deal Book Summit. It's a big New York Times confab. I just mentioned that Jamie Dimon was there talking about how he's been talking to all his big money guys about how Nikki Haley's their gal. It's a who's who of thoughtful people and politicians and political figures gathered at this New York Times confab annually. And Elon Musk was one of the featured speakers. And this is wonderful because everybody from Jamie Dimon to Kamala Harris to Bob Iger, the guy that runs Disney. In fact, I think Bob Iger, the guy that's now running Disney, was in the audience when Elon Musk was asked specifically about being called an anti-Semite and all of these people canceling their ad dollars on X. We talked about this. You know the story. I think I've told you all they've been wrongly branding him an anti-Semite because of some posts that he supported that were not anti-Semitic, but rather pointing out that left-wing Jews, Western Jews, continue to vote for Democrat policies that welcome the Palestinian Day of Peace on the steps of museums and foment hate and discord with cops at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. Liberal Jews in the West vote for this stuff. They enable it. That was the point that was made on X, to which Elon Musk said, harumph, yep, you're right, that's true. And everyone pounced. The left pounced on Elon, tried to make him an anti-Semite, said the Jews had it coming, which of course is not what he said, and that's a far different thing than Western left-wing Jews enable is not the Israelis deserved October 7th. You're smart. You understand that. That's nuance. Nevertheless, corporate America doesn't understand nuance. The left counts on that, and so they have bullied and threatened all of these corporate entities who do business with Elon Musk's X. Hey, do you support an anti-Semite? And they're, no, oh no, we don't. And so Bob Iger, Disney, we went down the list of all the people that have pulled their ads from X. Now, I don't have to remind you, Elon Musk he's doing okay financially, Fast Eddie. He's not hurting.
Yes.
No. Wealthiest man in the world, as a matter of fact. He's a billionaire. Took it in the shorts in the purchase of Twitter. Lost a lot of money. Hired a CEO from, where did she come from? I think everybody was a little kind of put off. Where did she come from?
Yeah, she's from NBC Universal.
That's right. She was a Comcast lady.
Yeah.
hired this Comcast lady, NBC Universal, to come in and be their CEO, and her job was to try to come in and try to figure out how to start making money off this thing, because Twitter was hemorrhaging money. They had all these people sitting around making lattes, sitting on bean bags, eating soy, accomplishing nothing, and getting six-figure salaries. And Elon came in and goes, what the hell is this? Get out, all of you, get out of here. And then he uncovered, of course, their collusion with the government and Democrats and exposed all of that. So he hires this CEO and he says, hey, lady, can you come in and make this commercially viable? Bless her, she's gone to work trying to bring in all these corporate people to start sponsoring X to make it profitable. And this happens, and the left scares them all away. And so Elon Musk is asked at this DealBook Summit, hey, boy, this anti-Semitism stuff. I mean, Bob Iger's here at Disney. He's here in the studio, or here in the audience. He's pulled his ads. I mean, what? Whew. You guys got to be losing a lot of money there at X. Listen to Elon Musk without batting an eye. Answer this.
Now, obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
Go F yourself.
Go f*** yourself.
Said it again.
Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Well, let me ask you then.
Hey, Bob. Yeah. Hey, Bobby. Mr. Disney. That's right. You. Go F yourself. Is that just that made me so happy. So I said I had to sit and ruminate with that for a while. I actually stopped and watched that clip several times yesterday on social media of Elon Musk. You talk about FU money. He literally has it. He's the wealthiest man in the world. And he craps Bob Iger, people bigger than Bob Iger, after breakfast. Like, Bob Iger is nothing. Disney is nothing. Elon Musk could buy Disney, with a debit card. Bob Iger, this is what makes him so threatening and menacing and dangerous to the left. This goes hand in glove with what we were talking about yesterday with the Washington Post's piece about the Biden administration is not getting enough credit for this great economy. And now they want to get people's minds right by figuring out what we do about TikTok and all these other platforms where people are getting on and talking about how the economy's not great. We got to do something about it. Well, how do they do it? What's always been their tactic? They've tried to do it to us for years, to not much success because, yes, talk radio works only because we have commercial sponsors. That is true. If people weren't advertising with us, we couldn't financially sustain ourselves. And there was a stretch of time where people went hard. Left-wingers, Media Matters was designed to go after Rush Limbaugh and people in this industry. It stopped working, though, because people that do business with talk radio understand that now. They understand the game. So nobody that does business with this show will ever be bullied or intimidated to not advertise here. They understand that advertising here is not only, one, wise because of the reach of the audience, and they know that you spend money, and you're a customer just the same as the left. So you deserve to be reached as a potential customer by our advertisers just as anybody on the left. That's number one. But sophisticated advertisers with talk radio understand this is just bullying. And they're not going to be bullied out of advertising with talk radio shows. So that stopped working for them. Now, the power of social media, since the advent of conservative talk radio, the advent of social media has become this new thing where, yeah, they're trying to figure out a revenue stream. And, yeah, they get advertisers. And so the left said, well, let's go after social media advertisers then. Well, the one thing that, corporate types in corner offices do is react. Just like Republicans, whenever their revenue stream is attacked, they go, oh, we can't lose revenue. We can't. Okay, we'll fire whoever. We'll apologize for whatever. We'll stop doing whatever. Okay. Just please lay off our sponsors. And the sponsors, of course, they're chased away because they don't want to look like they stand with an anti-Semite, right? So they bow and they kowtow to the left. But here's what's so unique about Elon. He doesn't need any of them. He's a billionaire and he doesn't care. And so when he says, go F yourself, he can literally say, go F yourself. He literally has FU money. He doesn't care. Do you understand how threatening that is to leftists whose business model has always been, we can't defeat ideas, so we have to silence them with threats? We have to try to take away their livelihoods. We have to take away their revenue stream. We have to threaten business from doing business with these people whose speech we disagree with. That's the only way to defeat ideas in the public arena with which we don't agree, is to shut them down and bankrupt them. And then along came this billionaire who said, I'm going to let people say whatever they want, and F you. Yeah, well, we're going to take our ad dollars. F you. Any of you in the room that are decision makers that decided to pull off my platform, pull in here, real close, real tight. F you. I just adore it. Isn't it the most wonderful thing? This is the kind of thing that every one of us as conservatives wishes we had. $1 gazillion in the bank so that we could never, ever, ever be intimidated or threatened by these left-wing goons again. To have such money and to have such self-assurance that no matter what they throw at you, even if they promise to ruin every last sponsor or stream of revenue you have, you're so financially set, you can just look them in the face and go, F you. It's every one of our dreams. Elon Musk is literally the man of most people's dreams. Certainly mine. It's the best story of the year. He is person of the year. He saved a social media platform. He exposed government collusion with social media. He opened it up and made it a free speech platform for all. And he told big business and corporate America, F you. I'm not stopping. I own this. I'm not stopping. And I don't care. Take your money. I don't need it. I have enough money to fund this thing by myself till I die. And by the way, I'm going to arrange it in a legal trust to make sure you never get your grubby mitts on it when I'm gone. Elon Musk and X now pose the single greatest existential threat to the American left that ever there did exist. Because he doesn't care. He's not intimidated. And it is a constant flow of information and discussion and dialogue between people sharing ideas and positions and debate, correcting the record, and they can't get control of it. They can't intimidate it. They don't know what to do. They've been able to do it with cable news. They've been able to do it with talk radio. They can't do it to Elon. And he won't be bought because he doesn't need their money. Sorry, doing this on the fly, but I just want to remind you that the late, great Rush Limbaugh popped a cork when he heard that the Republicans chose Nikki Haley to offer the rebuttal to Barack Obama in the final year. And he likened her to Jeb, exclamation point, who did famously say, yes, they've constantly dumped all over the Republican base. This is not new to any of you who've been around following this long enough. They openly talk with disdain for those of you that support a guy like Trump. They want to try to figure out how to win an election without you. They think that they can play nice by, expelling people like George Santos, and that will win your favor or something if you're a moderate or a soft Democrat. But they don't give a rat's rear end about the Make America Great type Republicans. They don't have time for you. They're embarrassed by you. We see it over and over. It's not new by any means. But I was glad to get that note. Thank you to my friend who sent it. I had forgotten that when she was chosen to offer the State of the Union rebuttal to Obama on his way out the door, Rush threw a fit and said, "Are you serious? Is the Republican Party trying to lose forever? That's who they put up as the face of the opposition to Obama?" So it should come as no surprise. It's as I do at the Harumph Society. I have a segment at the Harumph Society, Let History Be Your Guide. I like to go back and reflect on these things. In fact, I'm probably going to put that in Friday's Let History Be Your Guide, so Harumphers see this too. I like to go back and learn from history and remind ourselves where we were just a few years ago, and that's a great reminder of why big money is pushing Nikki Haley. She was pushed in 2016 prior to Trump's election. Now, yeah, Trump brought her into the UN, and I get all that. Team of rivals, Lincoln strategy. It's not uncommon. But it's, Trump was, to me, somebody reached out to me yesterday and said, I didn't pay much attention to it, and I don't much care. Black Lives Matter, or somebody that headed or does head Black Lives Matter endorsed Trump yesterday. Fast Eddie, did you hear that?
I did, yes. It was the head and actually one of the founders of the Rhode Island Black Lives Matter, yes.
Okay, so a local chapter there. He said, hey, I'm all in for Trump or something. This stuff doesn't interest me enough to look into it, but some of you reached out to me. Some of you DeSantis people were like, now, see? Because DeSantis picked up on this. Trump apparently puts out on social media yesterday, on his Truth Social, hey, thanks a lot to the Black Lives Matter guy for endorsing me. DeSantis appropriately picked up on it and was like, what? What are you talking about? They lit cities on fire while you were president. I dealt with these thugs. What the hell are you doing? You're saying thanks for the endorsement? First of all, I don't know under what circumstances this Black Lives Matter guy is endorsing Trump. I'm not sure what the compliment was. Again, I don't care enough about this, folks. I don't get distracted with it. But I get it. DeSantis people are trying to win, and so they're pointing to stuff like this, and they're going, Stigall! Black Lives Matter guy said Trump's swell, and he endorses him, and Trump thanked him for the endorsement. And I say, okay, Trump brought Kanye into the White House too. And Kanye's a certifiable lunatic. And yes, Trump made Chris Christie part of the cabinet, and Trump made Nikki Haley part of the cabinet. And yes, Trump listened to Fauci too long. And I get all these things. Trump is a team of rivals guy. He's like, okay, if that's and you can say that that's bad judgment, or you can say that's not leadership or whatever. Trump is transactional. If it means it's going to help him in the moment get to a goal, to a destination, he will do this is what I've always said about when I play clips from Bill Maher, or when I play clips from RFK, or I don't know, pick your leftist, Dave Chappelle. Every time we play clips from people like that, I get emails or posts on X. People say, Stigall, I can't believe you're giving a platform to this and such person. You know they're just a big leftist, don't you? They're just a big Democrat. They're never going to support you. They're never going to support conservatives. They don't vote for Trump. They hate Republicans. Why do you support them? Why do you play their audio? And what have I said time and time again? When we play leftists who take a particular point of view, like Bill Maher during COVID, commending DeSantis. Bill Maher hates Donald Trump, hates him. But Bill Maher's been pretty good on a lot, particularly since COVID. He's certainly been great on this Israel stuff and the anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. Why do we play it? We play it because it's useful. It's useful to make an argument. And this is where, if I may, some of us get kind of short-sighted. You take what is useful at the moment to advance your cause and your argument. You take what's useful in the moment to make a case, win the day. Win the battle, not the war. I don't pretend to know Donald Trump. I don't know him. I'm not in his head. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know how he thinks. But my guess is, based on everything I've seen out of the guy, in the moment, he doesn't forecast, how could this bite me 6 years from now? How might this look in 2 years? He's thinking, what do the polls look like right now? What is the mood right now? How's the media treating me right now? How can I win right now? Right? Like when your team is in the World Series or the Super Bowl, are they making decisions about who they put in and what play they call because maybe in a couple of years, somewhere down the road, someone's going to know they're going to read this call in the future and sniff us out, and we'll never be able to use this play again if we run it now here in the Super Bowl. Do you think that way, or are you thinking we got to do whatever we got to do to win this game today because it's for all the marbles, right?
Absolutely.
That's Trump. I don't know how more simple to make it. So when people look back and say after 2 years of Fauci or 4 years of Haley or Christie or Pence or whatever, and they go, well, look, you can't stand all these people that Trump put around him. Well, nobody was howling about them at the time. It's easy to look in the rearview mirror and go, look at how those people betrayed him or didn't serve him well or he didn't have great judgment. Who knew any of it at the time? It was useful at the time. I said when Kanye came in, everybody was like, oh, right, Kanye, he's one of us. And I said, look, a lot of kids, my son is one. My son loves Kanye's music. And I said back then, I go, Trump bringing Kanye into the White House, my kid thinks it's pretty cool. He's, don't tread on ye or whatever. He's got the yay, whatever. It's don't tread on yay. He's got the flag, the Gadsden flag on his bedroom wall with Kanye's face on it. And I said at the time, my son, who is not of voting age yet, but will be soon, thinks this thing that's going on is cool. And you can say, well, that's not conservative. And I say, you're right. And this is what I didn't understand back then about Trump when I would scream and yell about constitutional principles and conservatism and Ted Cruz, bookish, smart, speechifying. Trump doesn't say the right things. And the difference in the thinking there is Trump is trying to advance and win the day. Whereas, I was very obsessed with the academic speechifying. And Nikki Haley is of the academic speechifying type, and Jeb is too. So if they're useful for a time, hell, Donald Trump sat down to dinner with Mitt Romney in one of the funniest pictures I've ever seen. Mitt Romney turning around to the camera looking like he's held hostage. It's one of the, if you've never seen that still photo, it's one of the, if ever a picture could say 1,000 words, it's Trump and Mitt Romney sitting at a dinner table alone. Trump smiles like a Cheshire cat at the camera, and Romney is looking over his shoulder at the camera with this kind of grimace and furrowed brow like, help me, help. But the point is, there is no one Trump isn't willing to sit down and talk with. There is no one Trump won't sit down here and think, if you're useful to me to win the day, I'll use you. So, I don't know. I think most of you get that, but some get really obsessed with this idea that Trump says stuff like, thanks to the Black Lives Matter guy for endorsing him. And they think that that's, well, now see, Trump's thrown in with Black Lives Matter. That's not the way he sees it. That's certainly not what he'd say. He'd say, cool. A high-profile black guy who's been very divisive throws in with me. I'll take it. I'll use it, sure. And you say, those people were destructive. And I say, you're right. How can he? Because it favors him. And if he thinks blacks, even a portion of blacks, well, folks, I got a story here in front of me today. This is from Axios. More than 800,000 student loan borrowers are set to receive a message from Joe Biden Tuesday afternoon. Did you hear this? The email shared in advance with Axios is a direct appeal from the president to beneficiaries of his administration's debt forgiveness push, as his approval rating among Democrats hit a record low last month, jeopardizing his 2024 reelection bid. Biden's email states, I hope this relief gives you a little more breathing room. I've heard from countless people who have told me that relieving the burden of student loan debt will allow them to support themselves and their families and move forward with life plans they've put on hold. I'm proud we were able to give borrowers like you the relief they've earned. I promise as long as I am president, I will never stop fighting for hardworking families. The 813,000 borrowers receiving the email were those who weren't accurately credited for student loan payments that should have given them forgiveness, or people placed into forbearance by loan servicers who violated the Department of Education policies. The email asks recipients to share what the relief means to them and blames errors and administrative failures for shortcomings of the student loan forgiveness process. Biden's administration has forgiven $127 billion in student loan debt for nearly 3.6 million borrowers to date. 2.9 million borrowers who signed up for Biden's administration, the administration's SAVE plan, now have a payment of zero. 2.9. And we could get into more of the legalities of this. But anyway, my point is, why is Joe Biden sending out an email to 800,000 people congratulating them on their debt forgiveness and, furthermore, soliciting from them a nice note in return, thanking him for what he did for them? Why is he doing that, Fast Eddie?
Well, it's an easy way to buy votes.
Bingo.
He wants that transaction.
He's buying. It's a transaction. He is buying votes, young votes. He's hurting. He's hurting with young people. He knows it. They know it. How do we get young people excited? We buy them off. So he's sending out emails. Your debt is forgiven. And these people will in turn, thank you, Uncle Joe. We're so grateful you're president. Now I can move forward with my life and make a future for my family. Thank you, Joe Biden. I was underwater and drowning in debt until Joe Biden came along and saved my family's life. Joe Biden forever. Heart, heart, heart. Now do you get it? So when Donald Trump gets a thumbs up from the BLM guy, Trump's like, okay, all right. If a bunch of black agitators in the streets are now going to throw in with me, I'll take it. I'm taking whatever. Jump on the Trump train. I don't care who you are. RFK, come on in. Tulsi Gabbard, come on in. Naomi Wolf, come on in. Dave Chappelle, fine. Bill Burr, okay. Bill Maher, fine. BLM, okay. Gays, come on. Trans people, sure. There's a strain in our party who says, but that's not who we are. And I go, yeah, I was that guy back in 2016 too. And it didn't win. Trump wants to win. And once he wins, he didn't disappoint me. Now, yeah, we can relitigate COVID. I don't think COVID's fair. And you say, he's not a fiscal conservative. No, he never was. He didn't lie about that. But my point is, he did not govern in a disappointing way for me as a conservative, by and large. He was not a disappointment. He delivered on a more conservative agenda than any president since Reagan, as far as I'm concerned, and I was convinced he was a charlatan. But he did what he had to do to win, and he's doing it again. I'll cobble together the weirdest assortment of misfit toys to win. Don't care. And I hear you people going, they burn cities. And I go, I know. And he's like, if he can convince some of those people that were mad at him 4 years ago to vote for him instead, or at least not vote for the old man, that's his long game. That's all. That's not principled. Maybe not. What do you people say when Jalen Hurts calls the brotherly shove? You know, a lot of people in the NFL have said, that's not it. We got to eliminate that brotherly shove thing. I saw a guy flipping out the other day on the NFL This Morning or NFL Network channel, ranting about people criticizing this move when they're third and short. And Jalen basically uses his legs and powers forward and pushes the whole line forward. And this could endanger the quarterback. This is reckless. You can't. And people that have defended it have said, you're just mad because you can't do it. You don't have a quarterback with legs strong enough to do it. You can't pull it off. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know, you're mad because you don't have Jalen Hurts' tree trunk legs to power a play like that to get first down. We do. So don't tell us to stop running our play because you can't run it. Get it? It's exactly the same. So that's what I say to you. I'm sorry, a bit of stream of consciousness here, but I got a few notes yesterday. Well, now what do you say? Trump crowing about getting a BLM endorsement. I go, yeah, he wants to be the next president. He's trying to peel off literally anyone he can from Joe Biden. Wouldn't you? If you want to win, principles, my principles. I know, Jeb Bush has principles too, exclamation point. You can head over to the Harumph Society today and take the over-under on how many questions will actually get asked of Newsom and DeSantis tonight by Sean. Over-under 14 questions in an hour and a half broadcast. Are you over-under? Eddie takes the under. He says he's not sure Sean will get to 14 questions. I'm not either. I think that's I don't want to corrupt the betting pool there at the Harumph Society, but I also would take the under. I'm not sure Sean's capable of formulating more than a few questions before going off on a tangent about himself. But we'll see. That's tonight on Fox News. Hogan Gidley is the former deputy White House press secretary. He is vice chair at the Center for Election Integrity at the America First Policy Institute. He co-hosts a wildly successful podcast with his colleague and friend Tim Murtaugh at the Line Drive podcast is what that's called. Hogan, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it. Over under at 14, huh?
What do you take?
I take what you take. I think it's under.
I do too.
I think it's really significantly under. Three guys who like to talk, like to hear themselves talk. I love Sean. I think he asks and answers his own questions a lot.
Yes.
So I'll be interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I think Sean thinks he's the governor of Florida. Don't you? I think he might sometimes think he's the Speaker of the House or the governor. And sometimes even the president. All right, I'll leave it alone. That's not why you're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's leave it alone.
But let's do talk about the debate tonight. Why do it? If you're Hogan Gidley and you're in the camp of either Newsom or DeSantis, why would you counsel these individual men to do this in this format?
Two different reasons. Newsom is running in case of emergency break glass campaign. So he wants to be out there. He pushes some of the most radical leftist ideologies on the planet. So he wants to kind of shore up that base with a performance against someone that the left deemed Death Santis, even though he handled COVID better than most. And DeSantis should do it because he has no way of gaining traction any other mean that has been successful. So why not try this way? DeSantis is best when he's being attacked and counterpunching and on the attack as far as defending his record. Newsom is good at just kind of smiling, looking handsome and saying, California's a great place to be. Come on, give me a break. So we'll see what happens here. But I think both of them stand to gain from this. I just don't think any of them will. I mean, Donald Trump's too far ahead on our side. And Gavin Newsom obviously not the nominee. Right now it's Joe Biden.
That was my question for you. I think that there are people who are suspicious of this. They think it a Fox News last-ditch effort to try to elevate DeSantis and help him against Trump. I don't know. We can't possibly know all that. But that was my question. Could DeSantis get – and I think he's – by the way, DeSantis is awesome. He's dazzling at debates. I think this is where he will shine, if in fact it's truly a debate. Could he do well enough for it to propel him?
Again, I don't think so, only because a select few of the choir will be watching. I mean, It's on Fox. It's with Sean Hannity, so largely stacked in the favor of Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those same viewers like Donald Trump as well, a large majority of whom have already pledged to vote for him. So I don't think it shakes up anything. Look, if Donald Trump doesn't attend the Republican debate and it doesn't shake up anything, I can't imagine a debate between DeSantis and Newsom changes anything. If anything, it kind of lowers the stature of both men in this to say, look, see, we're not really on the main stage because Trump isn't there. So we're going to remind you of that by just debating each other instead. Neither men at this point in time have a chance in this race. So it's a little bit odd. So I understand the weirdness that people feel in it. At the same time, when you're down in the polls by 55 points, it's kind of like, what do you have to lose?
You've been in this game a long time, so you can also talk about this new development with Nikki Haley. I did predict, and I think rather accurately, after that last debate, I said going into that last debate, don't be surprised to see everybody talking about the new surging candidate versus Trump, Nikki Haley. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened day after and since. It's been all Nikki Haley all the time with this new story, Jamie Dimon and the Koch brothers, big money, now saying, run, Nikki, run. Here's a check. What do you make of this development?
Well, again, I'm not surprised either. I think your prediction was right. I think most people are expecting somebody to kind of be the alternative to Trump. But since there is no alternative to Trump, I think a lot of people are saying, who's going to be the alternative to Ron DeSantis, who is not catching fire? Who can we help propel to catch fire? A lot of people look at Nikki Haley. A lot of people think, I say wrongly so, that you need to check some of those cultural, social boxes to try and thwart what the left is doing. I think that's foolhardy. In fact, I think it plays right into the left's hands. A lot of people say, oh, no, we need a woman. She's Indian. That's great, too. How about just being good at the job? Let's focus on that. How about being able to rally around a base of support, create a movement? That's what I care about.
May I remind people,
the color of their skin.
I'm sure I don't have to remind you of a gentleman called Michael Steele when the Republicans tried to answer Barack Obama with the GOP party leadership in Michael Steele.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what our party's about.
Right.
So, the social justice, the cultural appropriate, all the things. No, that's what the left does.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we focus on the person with the policies and the performance who can rally and turn these debate moments into momentum and then ultimately a movement. And I don't know that Nikki Haley can do that. In fact, I would largely say she can't. Now, the Koch brothers coming out for her, that plays right into the knock on Nikki for so many in the base is that, she's a neocon. She's part of the establishment. And I lived in South Carolina for 15, 17 years. Nikki was my governor. She did a fine job as governor. A lot of people still remember that, like her a lot. A lot of people don't like her a lot. When you're in that position of power, you burn a lot of bridges. But regardless of that, we're all dancing around the fact that put all the money you want behind whomever you want. If it's not Donald Trump right now, I don't know that it's a dollar well spent.
Rush Limbaugh, I was reminded this morning, said back in 2016, I'd totally forgotten this. Do you remember that Barack Obama's last State of the Union, the Republicans put up Nikki Haley as the GOP response, to which Rush said, this isn't anything new, but what we learned last night is that the GOP, are very comfortable identifying themselves as elites and members of a club, and that you can't get in just by being who you are and doing what you want to do as a Republican and pursuing what you believe in. She wasn't going after Trump the same way the party goes after the conservative base, or as Jeb Bush said famously, that his objective was to win the Republican nomination without the support of the base. That's never been done before, and he was proud to say so. He went full blast that the GOP picked Nikki Haley to respond to Obama. And I didn't have time to review that speech, her rebuttal, but I guess he took it as a shot. That, of course, as you remember, was the height of Trump Cruz in January of 2016. We weren't really sure how that was going to shake out quite yet at that time, if you remember.
No, absolutely right. In fact, I talked to a lot of people who say, I just wish all these people would come out and say, if the other person wins, I'll support him. If the other person wins, I promise I'll be there. Guys, 2016, I was on the floor of the convention doing commentary for CBS at the time. And over my shoulder was Ted Cruz. And I remember watching the people as he was giving his speech, in which many people expected him to finally bear the hatchet and come out and endorse Donald Trump, who was then the nominee for the party. And the people in front of Ted Cruz were turning around with their back to Ted Cruz, not in protest, to look at his remarks on the teleprompter to see if an endorsement was coming. And you go back and look at it. Seconds before the speech was over, you could see the prompter coming to its conclusion of the verbiage printed on it, and there was no endorsement. And the boos that started raining down from that crowd, they were epic. My point is, in this fight for president of the United States, a lot of people are going to take a lot of different tacks and obviously coalesce different groups. But I will tell you this, I am sick and tired of establishment types telling us that we just have to suck it up, do the work, and get behind somebody who's the nominee like Mitt Romney. You guys got to do it. I'm sorry. I know you don't like him, but he's the best we got. He's our chance to beat Obama. And we all rolled up our sleeves. We grumbled, but we put in the work. It just seems like when Donald Trump's at the top of the ticket, you have a lot of folks in that elite class who say, no, that's a bridge too far. We know we make you guys come to the table. We know we make you guys put in the hard work when our person wins. But when your person wins, good luck. you're on your own. I think that's foolhardy and wrong-headed. And the fact that the left can sing from the same song sheet every single election, they don't like Joe Biden.
No.
They don't care about Joe Biden.
Nope.
What they care about is gaining and maintaining political power.
Yes.
So they get behind whoever is a nominee, whether that person has a pulse, whether that person can read from a teleprompter or not, whether that person has scandal after scandal coming out with foreign business dealings with Russia and China, Ukraine, Romania, all kinds of stuff, or whether that person can't even walk across a stage without falling over. They don't care because it's a vessel for their radical ideology.
It's like we're watching today with this George Santos thing. Hogan, I don't care about George Santos. And I think he's a creep. And I am certain that his constituents would not elect him to a second term. But that's who should decide that, not these House Republicans. And the only thing these House Republicans can agree on, they can't impeach Biden. They can't impeach Mayorkas. But they can all agree on getting rid of one of their own members to show us what exactly. I mean, that's the irksomeness of the Republican Party. The only time they seem to be able to coalesce uniformly is to chastise themselves.
That's a great point that I'd not really thought of, but it's true. It's like the self-loathing, the lovable loser types in our party are resigned to just saying, yeah, when one of our own makes mistakes, let's rally around them to kick them out. The left doesn't do that. I mean, my gosh, you have Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, all those things saying like horrible things about the Jewish people, and they won't even agree on the left to censor them at all. It's so fascinating to watch. Now, like you're right, I don't understand George Santos. I don't know all the facts of that issue. It just seems like there's a lot of smoke, a lot of problems. He lied a lot during that campaign. That's up to the voters. But I wish the Republicans would rally around and use their political power to go after Joe Biden on the things he's done with not enforcing the laws at the border, with on Joe Biden for what he's done to try and ruin our economy with passing off other people's loans onto other people in the form of student loan debt and stuff like that. I mean, I wish they'd focus on the issues the American people care about. The folks, I guess, in New York, wherever Santos is from, they'll handle that in the next election one way or the other. But the fact is, he's there now. He was elected, whether that be on a bunch of lies or not. Let them figure it out. I think we need to focus on making sure that the Joe Biden administration and the policies they put in place really hinder any chance for Democrats to be reelected, because from top to bottom, what we're facing in this country is all the fault of the Democrats, and we have to make sure they understand that and quit infighting on our side.
Hogan Gidley with us, former Deputy White House Press Secretary in the Trump administration. He's now at the Center for Election Integrity, the America First Policy Institute, the Line Drive podcast. News that Ronna McDaniel has about $9 million cash on hand. Does that alarm you?
Woof. Look, the RNC has some problems. They're not the cause of or the solution to all of those issues. But it would seem to make sense, though, in large measure, because we're the ones with a candidate out there. Candidates out there running for president. So a lot of the money's being sent to those campaigns, not to the RNC. But I think a lot of people on our side, rightfully so, are frustrated. Vivek Ramaswamy went right after Ronna McDaniel on that debate stage, which, of course, has been a big problem ever since. A lot of people are frustrated with promises that the RNC says that they can deliver on, that they don't deliver on. So, look, I think they've got some struggles over there. It's not always one person's fault or one entity's fault. But at the same time, I think track record speaks volumes, and you have to work to try and change the things that didn't work in the past, as opposed to the old, establishment model of making sure your consultants make a crap ton of money and talking about words like data and analytics and metrics, but it never really coming to fruition. A lot of the things the Democrats do, and I know this from the election integrity space, they put in the work. It's the non-sexy, non-TV, non-out-in-front stuff of getting people out to the polls, of identifying voters, of registering voters, having poll watchers, poll workers, all the things that really matter, the nuts and bolts, the blocking and tackling to win elections. And I just think a lot of people are of the concern and of the mind that the RNC isn't doing those menial tasks needed to win elections. Now, keep in mind, Republicans largely are at fault for this too, because we focus on elections in election years.
Yep.
The left, this is their religion.
Yeah, and
So
on
this is
election day,
nonstop,
even worse
24/7.
than year day. Often we still focus on this day of turnout thing. We're still obsessed with that.
Right, and we know it's not election day; it's election season. My goodness, I think Virginia had like 47 days to conduct their election, and then Mark Elias, a Democrat attorney, sued to have 10 more days to count ballots. So it's like 57 days. It's insane.
Yes.
But if those are the rules at play, and we know those are the rules, I mean, I say this all the time, but it'd be like if we told the Eagles, hey, guys, you can score points in games by running the ball, by kicking the ball, and by passing the ball. And the Eagles are like, well, we think passing and running are immoral, so we're just going to kick the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles are good, but they ain't going to win that many games if they only decide to score points kicking. So if ballot harvesting is the law, we got to out ballot harvest.
Now, I think,
I tell you, once we do,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Once we do that, they'll want to change the law, because remember, Facebook in 2016, it was Obama's in 2012 because he revolutionized it. Donald Trump comes along and does Facebook better. And what did the left say? They didn't say expand Facebook. They're like, hey, I think we should censor Facebook. I mean, that's the way it works. Beat them at their own game, and they'll want to change the laws.
That was my question for you, and I know you've spoken with him many times about it, and being that this was your focus after you left the administration was election integrity. Trump is pretty loath. He hates election season. He hates, mail-in ballots. He's been clear about that. So do I. So do you. So do all of us. We hate it. It is the reality, though. He seems like he's come around to it. Does he? Look, he's got a lot of problems. I don't have to tell you. There's lots to sort out. He's got court fights and so much. So I hate to put one more thing, but the question does have to be asked, does he understand Ronna McDaniel's kind of an albatross right now for his prospects in the future? And does he have a responsibility there to, I don't know, start traveling around the country reminding people they got to vote early?
Well, I think he has changed his tune on voting early and mail-in and other things. Listen, a lot of folks, including some in Trump orbit, say we need paper ballots. Okay, fine. But the reason we have machines is because paper ballots used to be manipulated too. Hanging chads, dimpled ballots back in Florida back in 2000. So we morphed to machines. The problem is so many of the machines can be manipulated. They have problems with those, and they're well documented. I don't care what the press says. They're pretty well documented. Northampton in Pennsylvania just had votes flipped in real time, and when they asked the election officials, wait a minute, I didn't vote this way, I voted the other way. Oh, don't worry, it's recorded right in the machine, just the printout you got is wrong. Really? But the printout came from the very machine I voted on. I mean, so the whole thing is a little bit goofy. I know there's some lawsuits being filed there, but a lot of this comes down to the fact that the left really does a good job banking early votes, banking mail-in ballots. Fetterman notoriously had 900,000 or so in the bank ready to go before Election Day. And Election Day voting, while I think it's more ideal, the problem is Election Day voting, you're met with illnesses or traffic jams or weather problems. And so there are all kinds of things that go into winning and losing elections, far be it for me to point out messaging, candidates, ground game, et cetera. But the apparatus, designed to allow people to vote should be one that protects legal votes and legal voters. And I think a lot of states don't have those protections. And in fact, in some places, just ignore those protections or maliciously go around them in some ways. So it's a lot of problems that we face every single election year. But focusing on putting people in the room, making sure that whether it's from the state party, from the national party, from your local advocacy, from your local grassroots groups, you have to learn the laws. You have to do the work. You have to be there. Look, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. You got to be in the room. You have to be the one pointing these things out and know the proper procedures, the laws to say, wait a minute, that's a violation. Wait a minute, I'm going to call the county clerk or I'm going to call this number and report these things in real time. And you have to have attorneys who know what they're doing and are ready to go, are barred in the states, that understand election law. You can't have personal injury attorneys. You can't have, real estate attorneys, although they have their niche and they have their place. That's not what election law, election day is about. You have to have folks who understand that part, those procedures. And so it's so many layers. I mean, you can't put it all on one person. I just know that we're failing at many levels.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders, your friend, governor of Arkansas, she had a big public endorsement of Trump. Not a surprise per se, but that does make me wonder. A lot of people believe, and I know we just said the GOP and maybe Trump doesn't do this, but there are a lot of people who are of the belief the GOP has a real woman problem, particularly on this issue of abortion, so he's going to need a woman. And would she be that woman, Hogan, is my question.
Well, I was just with her a couple weeks ago. We were texting yesterday. I think she'd be great. She's a new governor. I think she has really risen to that job and done incredible work for the people of Arkansas. Very popular, a national figure. And, being a White House press secretary, you leave with name ID higher than any national politician. I think when Spicer left nationally, his name ID was like at 75%. She did a great job responding to the State of the Union, which is a very difficult thing for anybody to do. You can ruin a career in a hurry a lot of times in that position. She is poised. She is smart. She's done so many things. She's a wonderful person. I think she'd be a phenomenal pick, and I think a lot of people would be happy with that. Whether she, it's the job, as her dad used to say, it's the job no one wants, but no one will turn down.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see how it goes. But, it's a small list of people who can do that job and do it effectively.
Communicate, right? She can communicate better than anybody you'd pick, I think.
She can communicate. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's that goes. I didn't even say that because that was an obvious one. I was like, I hope people think she can communicate, but I think she'd do a great job on behalf of the president. But I know they're looking at several people, but she's. I could just see Trump at one of those rallies. Can't you just see him going out there and go, I don't know, Vice President, who do you think? What about Sarah Sanders? And just check what the crowd does, like they go ballistic. He's like, I don't know. Many people are saying.
I love
Many
it.
people are saying she's the best pick.
Many people are saying. That's right. So, look, I'll leave you with this question. And is there any way? Sean Spicer and I talked about this, and I actually bet him a steak dinner there was no way Haley comes in second in Iowa. But he thinks she's coming on. It's not made up. It's not manufactured, that it's real. I just cannot. I cannot believe Republican voters think if they don't want Trump, she's the better alternative than DeSantis. I can't accept it, Hogan. Do you think we're going to see her surge?
If DeSantis gets out, like if he were to get out tomorrow, his votes would go to Trump. They wouldn't go to Nikki.
Right.
They're different bases, I think. People I've talked to in Iowa, and look, I've done that cycle many times with Huckabee and Santorum. Both of them won the caucuses, so I know it's a squirrely place. It's about turnout. It's about getting out your people on the ground. I'm going to make a wild prediction here, and I don't think if DeSantis doesn't win Iowa, he's going to be in trouble. Okay, serious trouble, because up next is New Hampshire. He ain't winning New Hampshire, and he ain't winning South Carolina. So by then, it's going to be a real problem. If he comes in third behind Nikki, I would argue that's his last day on the campaign. That's going to be tough to overcome. And you
think that could happen?
Nikki is surging. I think she's surging into places like New Hampshire and South Carolina more so than Iowa, because they appreciate people who put in the work. And I think Nikki kind of not wrote off Iowa, but you have a finite amount of resources, and she spent it in other places. But she is coming on strong now. And the people of Iowa kick those tires, and they ask the questions. And if they don't think you can handle it, if they don't think you have a shot to win, they'll move on to the next candidate. And so she may be peaking at just the right time. Look, Huckabee, Santorum, it didn't really start to boom for them until right before Christmas. And we went from walking around that state where no one would talk to us, no one would even really come up and say hello, to being mobbed like Kim Kardashian at the Met Gala every time we got out of the car. And that's no joke. And so it went from 0 to 100 almost overnight. So if she can start to create that momentum, or at least the appearance of such, it's going to be hard to ignore in a state like Iowa.
Hogan Gidley is the former Deputy White House Press Secretary, Vice President at the Center for Election Integrity at the America First Policy Institute. And I know you share with me your total joy in Elon Musk having so much literal FU money, he can look at guys like Bob Iger and say FU. Was that not one of the most remarkable moments ever? Yeah.
Gee, I have been blessed to be around some people in my life that have that kind of cash. Elon Musk is not one of them. But when I see somebody like that, it just makes me go, okay, well, good for you. I saw that clip yesterday, and I love the fact he said it twice. Like, he got no reaction, and he's like, I'm going to say it again just to make sure you heard. It's like telling a joke twice. You're never supposed to do that because it just didn't land. You think people just didn't hear you? And he did anyway and just kept on going. Yeah. Nope. And he goes, hey, Bob. Maybe you're in the audience. Hey, Bob. Like you're there. Oh, this is beautiful.
Thank you, Hogan. Merry Christmas if we don't speak beforehand. I hope we do, but if not, Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
I got more stuff coming for PA on election integrity. We're going to speak again. I got some stuff for you.
We're ready for it. We need it.
That's what we call a deep tease in the biz. Deep tease.
Thank you, my friend. Well, look, he doesn't take any delight in it, but I have a feeling that somewhere in the corner of Mike's mind, he's a good man who would never say this aloud, but Mike Lindell at MyPillow might feel just a smidge of schadenfreude at the news that Bed Bath & Beyond has gone bankrupt. Yeah, the company that first threw Mike's pillows and products out of their store has now filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Well, I can tell you at MyPillow.com, they're anything but bankrupt. They are fantastic. They are high quality. They are doing well by their customers, and they don't need a retailer like Kohl's or Bed Bath & Beyond. Yes, they sold their products and sold them well until politics got in the way, so Mike just took it all online, and MyPillow.com is roaring. He also sells at his store the My Coffee, which I drink now and love, and I hope you'll go online and order all of it. And I hope you'll use my name, Chris Podcast, when you do it. If you go to Chris Podcast as your promo code when you go to MyPillow.com, Chris Podcast, you'll get up to 80% on a lot on that website. You'll get discounts regardless, but particularly some of the clearance stuff, you'll save ridiculous money. So please use the promo code Chris Podcast when you order, and I do hope you do. We have an entire bed outfitted with MyPillow stuff now. We've got the sheets, we've got the blanket, we've got the pillows. Even Dean has his own MyPillow dog bed. Like I said, I drink the MyPillow, or it's not MyPillow coffee. It's called My Coffee. I keep screwing that up. That would be weird if it was pillow coffee. No, it's coffee, which I sip sometimes while leaning against MyPillow. The MyPillow 2.0, the mattress topper, which is like a brand new mattress without paying for a brand new mattress. You know, he'll ship that mattress topper to you for free if you use my promo code Chris Podcast right now. It's covered in that new 2.0 fabric. So are his pillows that keep you cool all night long. He'll send you a second MyPillow 2.0 if you use my promo code Chris Podcast. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, it's true. He's made me a believer. Dean, my dog, as well. The slippers, the towels, the bed sheets, the pajamas, and so much more. And yes, even the coffee. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Chris Podcast and save, or call today 800-932-5056. 800-932-5056. Who needs Bed Bath & Beyond anyway? MyPillow.com, promo code Chris Podcast.
Go yourself.
Go F yourself. It's literally F you money. Go F yourself. Elon Musk telling Bob Iger, go F yourself. Bob says, with this public, Bob Iger from Disney, now that he's taken this public position, we must disassociate. We only associate with positive things. Oh, do you, Bob? You people at Disney only associate with positive things like trans radicals and sexually grooming our children. Okay. That's what Disney wants to associate with, but not Elon Musk's free speech. Fine. Then just a little Vivek. This will make you smile, too.
Why should you be the nominee and not the former president?
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. There's a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. Since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party.
So that's Vivek's FU.
The Chris DeGaulle Show Podcast.